Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulonding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm reception to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Maimuna Fadera. In the headlines tonight, Tourism Minister reiterates his position on Gambians in Senegal to vote in 2021. 34% of media workers earn less than $2,500 monthly. Health authorities warn against tobacco usage as local women use it to satisfy their sexual desire. Former president used babies for sacrifice, says Silaba Samate. GFF to launch appeal against decision of CAF disciplinary board to CAF appeal board. On the international scene, Joe Biden picks ex-General Lloyd Austin as defense secretary. Mexico health experts concerned about COVID-19 vaccine supply. Ghana's re-elected president calls for national unity. Well, those were the headlines, and now the news in details. The Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Hamad N. Keiba, has reiterated his position on Gambians in Senegal with ID cards and birth certificate to get voters' card in January so they can vote in the forthcoming 2021 presidential election. He noted that they should be given the same chance to vote as those in the diaspora in fulfilling their constitutional rights as citizens of the Gambia. Maria Madam has the rest of the story.
While speaking in Jokadu and Lower Badibu during the Meet the People's tour, Tourism Minister Hamad Bari affirmed his and the Gambia government full support of Gambians in the diaspora to be given the chance to vote. But he quickly says what they would not allow as the government is discrimination among Gambians when it comes to voting, noting that no Gambians should be deprived of their rights to vote.
Idea of diaspora voting is welcomed by the government of the Gambia and every other individual. And this government will be ready when the process is established to implement it. But one thing is clear. It will never be selective. Every Gambian, wherever you may live, you are entitled to, you must have it. We cannot be selective, choosing people of particular countries and eliminating others. They must, and it must be general for every Gambian.
As Honorable Ba urged Gambians residing in Senegal to come out in 2021 to vote, he also called on all citizens of the country, including those in diaspora, to do the same, but stressing that if IEC is to go abroad for voter registration, they have to start with the nearby countries.
Opposition and order, it will never be selective. It must be just, free and fair to every Gambian who lives abroad. Diaspora voting is for every Gambian. It cannot be selective.
While speaking in the Mandinka dialect at Mbamurukunda, the Minister of Lands and Local Government, Musa Drame, made similar remarks and refuted the allegations made by the opposition that Barrow's government is trying to give voters cards to non-Gambians in Senegal. Meanwhile, hundreds of people in Mamburukunda has defected from UDP and GDC to NPP, thus promised to rally behind President Barrow in the forthcoming elections in 2021.
The Gambia Press Union yesterday tabled the results of a survey conducted into the working conditions of Gambian media workers. The marathon report outlined the pay, employment status, training and other conditions media workers operate under in the country. Our Sani reports.
The report was presented to media house owners and Gambian journalists as employers and employees who spent the whole day discussing it and its implications. Alongside the report was also a draft of the GPU's collective bargaining document, which is aimed at guiding media owners and their staffs or prospective employees and freelancers as to the terms of contract, payment or conditions. Addressing the meeting, which took place at the Bijulo Baobab Resort Hotel in Bijulo, Sekou Jambe, the GPU Secretary General, explained that there are increasing demands from journalists for improvement in their conditions of services. He, however, admitted that the working condition of media practitioners have improved within the past few years, as there have been pay rises in a lot of media houses. In summary, it's about 100% or even more, adding that the reporters are taking home today what was the standard for editors, which is a good news, Jambe said.
Brings out issues about conditions of service for staff and for freelance that are disturbing and are unacceptable in the media. We are supposed to be the standard bearers in upholding the values of decency at work, the values of labor rights, which are quintessentially human rights. So in summary, some journalists, staff and freelance go for months without being paid salary or wages. We have at least about 72% that feel that they are not properly rewarded for their service. And we have over 34% that are earning less than $2,500 every month. Quite a good number do not have employment letters or employment contracts with clearly defined terms and conditions. And majority of them actually work for many hours, some at least 13 hours every day, 6 days in a week, at least, without ever going on annual leave. And even then, media houses are failing to provide minimum social protection for them, including payment of social security as required by law.
However, Mr. Jambe went on to state the bad news. The recent GPU survey of working conditions of some of the reporters and freelance journalists are quite disturbing and unacceptable in the media. We are supposed to be the standard bearers in upholding the values of decency at work and the value of labor, which are human rights. He added that some journalists, staff, freelancers go for months without being paid salaries or wages. We have 72% who feel that they are not properly awarded and 34% who are earning less than $2,500 a month, while quite a good number do not have employment letters or employment contract which clearly define the terms and conditions. The majority of them work for more than hours, some at least 13 hours a day, 6 days a week without ever going on annual leave. Even then, media houses are failing to provide minimum social protection for them, including payment of social security that is required by law. He also underlined the heartbreaking discrimination of female journalists in the media. For female journalists, it is even a bigger problem because they are abused, sometimes sexually, and they are discriminated at their workplaces. These and many other key findings of this research should break the heart of any decent person, he lamented. Mr. Jambe continues that collective bargaining plays a very important role in improving conditions of services, quality journalism, and ensuring stability in the newsroom. It provides guarantees for the rights of the journalists to create modalities for resurfacing problems, establish negotiation procedures, union structures, minimum wages, etc. He called on all media employees and employers to welcome the initiative because the aim is very simple and it's a good one. We want to make the media industry more stable, professional, and we want media practitioners to be better motivated, he concluded. Nohamane, a tax manager at the GRA, spoke on the importance of prompt payment of taxes on behalf of the employees.
When you live in the country and you use our public services like roads, our waters, and so many other things, whether you know it, any budget that you spend at the shops, whether you buy something or whatever the thing might be, whether you know or not, you are indirectly contributed your part when it comes to tax collection. The moment you buy something, you are putting in something into the coffers of the government. Whether the person is a trader or consumer, importer, exporter, being young, old, in as much as you buy, sell goods and services in any form, you indirectly pay tax.
Abdul Saidi, Principal Labour Officer at the Department of Labour, spent the day explaining the importance of labour laws of the Gambia as it concerns the reports and the collective bargaining document. He said the labour legislation generally indicates basic rights of employees that are minimum terms and conditions of services that every employee shall benefit. The Department of Labour charged with the administration of the labour system and conduct of good industrial relations and other basic acts an employee is entitled to.
Who has more than 100 employees shall establish works committee. All these gears towards collective bargaining for a better condition. And there should be, the collective bargaining should always indicate better conditions and no condition less favorable than what is provided in the Labour Act. More importantly, that's why it is mandatory upon every establishment who has collective bargaining agreements with an employer, with a workers' association or workers' union, shall present it to the Commissioner of Labour for vetting to see whether it is at par with the Labour Act or is more favorable than what is provided with the Labour Act. However, anything indicated in such an agreement will be superseded by the Labour Act or the relevant provisions of the Labour Act. The Commissioner,
during an exclusive interview with the Program Officer of Non-Communicable Disease in Tobacco Control Program Unit under the Ministry of Health on Wednesday, informed this medium about the health hazards of tobacco, as many people have different ways of using it which may be detrimental in their personal well-being. Modu Elbaji has more.
The use of tobacco for second-hand smoking exposure contributes to approximately 41,000 deaths among non-smoking adults and 40 deaths in infants each year. Second-hand smoke causes stroke, lungs cancer, coronary heart diseases in adults. Children who are exposed to second-hand smokes are at increased risk for sudden infection death syndromes, acute respiratory infections, mid-ear disease, more severe asthma, respiratory symptoms, and slow lungs growth. However, in West Africa, especially in the Gambia, women have discovered new ways of using tobacco which helps them to satisfy their sexual desires. But health experts have warned the use of tobacco in such a way can lead to lots of implications. The Program Officer of Non-Communicable Disease and Tobacco Control Unit under the Ministry of Health, Senabu Bicham, disclosed this step they have taken in educating women about the dangers of tobacco toward the private parts.
We have seen the increased use of what we call the vaginal tobacco, or in other words, the tobacco that a lot of women use for various reasons known to them. Some will tell you due to infection, some will tell you it treats infertility, others will tell you because of the sexual desires they derive from using the tobacco. So what we have been doing as a ministry is to try to educate the populace on the harmful effects of the tobacco use. especially the vaginal tobacco. Although much research have not been done to actually study this, especially in the Gambia, because it has been rampant in West Africa, but the use is now increased, or it's well known now in the Gambia. So what we have been doing is to educate the women, and more so to do the sexual health education bit part of it, because most of the women do not know about their bodies or how their bodies work. So this can lead them to using. So women and ways to satisfy their husband, whatever they hear from other women, the peer pressure. So what we have done as a ministry is to engage people using the media. So basically that is what we are doing, and we hope in the future to also do a study to see the impact actually what this tobacco control has, the tobacco use, especially the vaginal tobacco, have on our women. So we will have to study that impact so that we can come with a valid research.
Research is underway to substantiate the major impact of tobacco on female genital organs. However, expert also urges women to regularly visit health authorities when they encounter infections on their genitals. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
Tycoon Silabas Samate, who spent months detained at the NIA during the former regime, on Tuesday told the TRRC that he helped carry boxes which contained babies to the office of the late NIA boss Numo Kujabi, meant for sacrifice for the former Gambian leader. Hadijaju reports.
Samate stated that one Fali asked him to take the boxes to Numo's office, and he informed him that the boxes contained babies that were taken from various hospitals after their mothers died during childbirth.
Words. I asked him, Fali, what is inside this box? Then he told me that this box contains a baby.
Was the baby alive?
Yes, yes, in one way, yes, but in another way, it could be because I didn't look inside the box.
No.
Silaba Samate said, on one occasion, upon delivering the boxes, he had a baby crying in Numo's office. According to Samate, he was strictly warned by Numo not to reveal the information to anyone.
I also took that box to Numo's office, but that was the time inside Numo's office, I had the baby crying in the box.
Inside the office?
Office Numo's office. Inside Numo's office.
Yes. And on this occasion, why were you in Numo's office?
When I entered Numo's office, he told me to sit down. He told me whatever object we bring into this office, never talk about it and let nobody ever hear it from you.
The businessman further revealed that while he was at the NIA, he saw many bad things which include the removal of human eyes, human heads chopped off, and these incidents normally took place behind the NIA building. Mr. Samate accused the then director of prosecution of demanding $1 million from him to allow him escape. He said he was granted bail through the arrangement of Richard Ching with his sister Janke Samate.
And my wife also took some money to him.
Which Lamin Dabo are you talking about?
Lamin Dabo NIA. Lamin Dabo NIA.
What role did he play in that deal?
Just to carry money to DPP Chenge.
Was he a simple courier or he was a courier with interest?
As a Kenya fiber, but more by that time. It could be possible that he also has an interest, but I didn't know that at that time.
Do you know whether he received any part of the money?
No, I was not aware of that.
He narrated that the statement that the NIA wrote against him had stated that he sold substance in the name of former president and also scammed people to get money. He concluded that all his assets were taken by Jammeh. It was when he returned home, then he went to court to get all his assets back. For Star TV News,
I am Hadijaju.
Following the decision of CAF disciplinary board imposing upon the GFF a fine of $100,000, of which $50,000 are suspended on the condition that the GFF is not found guilty of a similar offence within a period of 24 months, the Gambia Football Federation has decided to launch an appeal to the CAF Appeal Board. Jacqueline Colley reports.
The incident that occurred at the Banjul International Airport involving the Gabonese national team and delegation during the return leg of Match Day 4 in the AFCON qualifiers and subsequent to the investigations made by a Confederation of African Football on the matter after a complaint was lodged by the Gabon Football Federation. The general public is hereby informed that the CAF has communicated the decision of the disciplinary board to the GFF as does: to impose upon the GFF a fine of $100,000, of which $50,000 are suspended on the condition that the GFF is not found guilty of a similar offence within a period of 24 months. The said decision was made after a teleconference hearing held earlier this month where the GFF was represented by the President, Mr. Lamin Kaba Bajo, assisted by the GFF First Vice President, Mr. Bakari K. Jammeh, and Chairman of GFF Legal Committee, Mr. Cherno Marena. During the said hearing, the GFF reiterated her position on the matter as stipulated in the letter sent to CAF on the matter. These include the following salient points: that the Gabonese Football Federation has changed their arrival date and time on 2 occasions, and the last one was on Sunday, 15th of November 2020 at 2000 hours. The GFF sent a distress message to CAF on Sunday, 15th of November 2020 at 2100 hours 39 minutes and copied the Gabonese FF about the failure of the latter to show up at 2000 hours as per their last communication, and that they did not send any new arrival time. The Gabonese delegation landed at the Banjul International Airport at 2300 hours 30 minutes. Upon arrival at the airport, the Gabonese delegation refused to hand over their COVID-19 test results to the health authorities at the airport as required by the local COVID-19 protocols. The Gabonese delegation further refused to cooperate with the airport health authorities to undergo COVID-19 tests at the airport to enable timely release of the results the following day in order to meet the requirement of CAF COVID-19 protocols for the match. A push and pull ensued between the Gabonese delegation and the Gambian health authorities at the airport, which went on for a few hours. Upon the intervention of the Gabonese ambassador to the Gambia, resident in Dakar, Senegal, the health authorities allowed the delegation to leave for their hotel with the promise that they will undergo the test at the hotel later in the morning. When the testing team arrived at the hotel for tests, the Gabonese delegation again refused to undergo the said test. This stalemate at the hotel between the health authorities and the Gabonese delegation also took time until the testing team had to abandon their mission. It was their latest confrontation with the COVID-19 testing team that the Gabonese delegation surrendered the COVID-19 test results they arrived with to the CAF COVID-19 officer. After the technical meeting prior to the meeting, CAF organized a video conference including representatives of both teams, the CAF COVID-19 officers and the match commissioners, during which both sides were heard. And CAF subsequently decided that the match should go ahead despite the Gabonese players and officials did not undergo the COVID-19 test in the country. Based on the foregoing facts, the GFF wishes to reiterate that it had nothing to do with the alleged incident between the local Gambian health authorities and the Gabonese delegation. Rather, it was purely within the mandate of the latter as per the laid down national COVID-19 protocols and regulations. Whilst expressing her disappointment and disagreement with the decision of the CAF disciplinary board, the GFF felt that the actions of the Gabonese delegation was disrespectful and an insult to the national laws, which in their view was endorsed by GAFT. Worst of all, as far as they know, the Gambia vs Gabon match was the only match out of 48 matches which were played during that period where a particular team was allowed to play the match without undergoing the COVID-19 test in the host country. This is yet another manifestation of the biased decision of CAF as the referee in this matter. And after due consultation on the matter, the GFF has decided to launch an appeal against the decision to the CAF Appeals Board. Jacqueline Colley, reporting for Star TV News.
Well, those were the local stories. We'll be back with the international news after the short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jeja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jeja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
Welcome back. After the short commercial break, we now look at the news beyond our borders. Joe Biden's transition to power continues. He has nominated a retired general to be Secretary of Defense. If confirmed, Lloyd Austin will become the first African American to lead the Pentagon. Their nomination has garnered much praise but also some concerns. Al Jazeera's Heidi Castro reports.
Retired General Lloyd Austin has served in the U.S. military for 4 decades, rising from West Point graduate to leader of U.S. Central Command. As the leader of U.S. forces in Iraq, Austin oversaw the withdrawal of troops under the Obama-Biden administration.
General Austin was a diplomat. It was not an easy task. He built relationships with our Iraqi counterparts and with our coalition partners.
Austin said Wednesday, as Defense Secretary, he would continue to work to strengthen coalitions.
America is strongest when it works with its allies. And over the years, I've worked hand in hand with our diplomatic colleagues and partners around the globe and witnessed firsthand what we're able to accomplish together.
Biden says Austin is a skilled leader, respected by troops and admired for his integrity. If confirmed, he would become the first black U.S. Secretary of Defense, leading a military where more than 40% of active duty members are of color.
We need his personal experience helping inform our efforts to ensure that our armed forces reflect the full strength and diversity of our nation. That black, Latino, Asian American, Native American, women, men, LGBT, service members are treated with dignity and respect.
But Austin's nomination also brings some controversy. U.S. law calls for a civilian-led military, requiring top brass to have been out of uniform for at least 7 years. Austin has been retired for 4 years, which means he'll need a congressional waiver. Jim Mattis was the last defense secretary who got a waiver, but members of Congress said then their action was a one-time exception. Now, 2 Democratic senators have already said they will not approve a waiver for Austin. And the retired general may face tough questions about his recent work for a defense contractor.
Somebody will dig up some dirt of some kind, real or imaginary, and they'll trundle it out there, and this becomes ready bait for those who don't want to see this particular thing occur.
Austin says if confirmed to Biden's cabinet, he would approach the job of U.S. Defense Secretary from a civilian perspective and surround himself with civilian staff. But it is Congress he will have to convince. Heidi Jo Castro, Al Jazeera, Wilmington, Delaware.
As the global rush to get hold of coronavirus vaccines intensifies, concerns are mounting that low-income countries could be left behind. Latin America is one region where poorer nations could struggle to get the stocks they need. The vaccination programs potentially dragging on for years. Al Jazeera's Manuel Rapallo reports.
Latin America holds only 8% of the world's population, yet accounts for roughly 30% of global COVID-19 deaths. It's arguably the hardest hit region by the global coronavirus pandemic. Yet as news that a vaccine could soon be on the way, concerns abound over low-income countries having equal access. On Wednesday, the Pan American Health Organization said the number of doses of the vaccine will not be enough for everyone at first. Some of the region's poorest nations will be almost entirely dependent on donated supplies of the vaccine. The organization says that solidarity and the sharing of resources between the nations of the Americas will be essential to successful international vaccination efforts.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take beyond 2021 to arrive at the goals that we set ourselves that will control transmission. But really, we are eager to see COVID-19 vaccines broadly available, but it is important to understand that it will take time and that coordination across countries will be essential.
Other concerns include the storage and distribution of the vaccine. In countries like Guatemala and Honduras, recent hurricanes have severely damaged infrastructure, complicating the COVID-19 health emergency.
We may wish that inequalities did not exist. Unfortunately, these populations will face greater complications. If we consider the Pfizer vaccine, for example, which must be stored at very low temperature, minus 70 degrees, maintaining that temperature becomes complicated when trying to reach many countries, and for that vaccine to arrive in good condition.
Some countries, like Mexico, Chile, Argentina, and Brazil, have secured bilateral agreements with vaccine manufacturers. These agreements guarantee that a minimum number of doses will be made available for the first phase of national inoculation programs. But for Latin America's poorest nations, health policy experts warn that social inequalities and limited supplies could mean that many may not receive vaccines well into 2023. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera.
Ghana's president has narrowly won re-election, a result his opponents immediately said they will appeal against. The Electoral Commission says Nana Akufo-Addo had 51.59% of the votes. Al Jazeera's Ahmed Idris reports from Accra.
Nana Akufo-Addo gave the 2020 presidential contest everything he could, knowing that at 76, this might be the twilight of his political career. Despite allegations of corruption against his government, a defiant president held on to defeat his arch-rival, former President John Mahama, for a second time. Although his party said it knew it won, it's this declaration that confirmed his successful second-term bid.
The Ghanaian people, through the results, have made it loud and clear that the two parties, the MPP and NDC, must work together, especially in Parliament, for the good of the country. Now is the time for each and every one of us, irrespective of our political affiliations, to unite, join hands, stand shoulder to shoulder, and work hard to place Ghana where she deserves to be.
Although his party said it knew it won, it's this declaration that confirmed his successful second-term bid.
On the basis of the foregoing election results, and by the power vested in me as the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana and the returning officer of the presidential election, it is my duty and honor to declare Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President-elect of the Republic of Ghana.
A tense standoff between security forces and supporters of the opposition candidate John Mahama preceded the declaration. Although they may have forced a change in venue for the announcement, it wasn't enough to save their candidate from defeat. An angry protester says they will never accept the victory of Akufo-Addo.
But they are bringing war to Ghana now. They want war to grab it to Ghana. But today, nothing. We are not going to say anything now. We will do our homework, and we are not accepting this kind of bogus Jamaican results.
Many party loyalists and the rest of the nation look to former President John Mahama to rein in his supporters, so as not to plunge the country into chaos. He says he will, but is also not conceding defeat.
I want to state categorically and firmly that I have not congratulated any person. And no attempt should be made to steal this election. We will resist it.
Tensions between supporters of Ghana's dominant political parties have been on the rise even before election day. Despite the deployment of 63,000 security personnel and a peace pact signed by the leading candidates, at least 5 people were killed in post-election violence.
Protests like this were what most people hoped could be avoided, adding to an already tense situation why some business owners decided to remain shut. The last time elections were this tense in Ghana was 8 years ago.
Then opposition candidate Nana Akufo-Addo alleged tampering of the result and filed a petition with the election tribunal. For now though, supporters of President Nana Akufo-Addo say they won't hold back their celebrations. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Accra, Ghana.
Well, before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Tourism Minister reiterates his position on Gambians in Senegal to vote in 2021. 34% of media workers earn less than $2,500 monthly. Health authorities warn against tobacco usage as local women use it to satisfy their sexual desire. Former president used babies for sacrifice, says Silaba Samate. GFF to launch appeal against decision of CAF disciplinary board to CAF appeal board. On the international scene, Joe Biden picks ex-General Lloyd Austin as defense secretary. Mexico health experts concerned about COVID-19 vaccine supply. Ghana's re-elected president calls for national unity. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of wonderful programs. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching.